All right. I'm looking at YouTube right now. No, YouTube is down too. I'm not sure. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's saying that we're live on YouTube. I see it now. That's really weird. But we're completely down on Rumble, which I don't understand. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's back up on Rumble now. That's extremely weird. Okay, well, I'm not gonna. Wow, I was on a roll too. At least I thought I was. Interesting. Let me see. Are we live on Peel.net? Let me see. Yeah, looks like we are live on Peel.net too. So, oh, and Truitt. I'm not sure how to say that. Truitt. Thank you so much for the gold pills. All right, so wow, I've never seen it. It's just like a weird hiccup. It's still live on Instagram. We're still live on Instagram, but for some reason, everywhere else kind of like did a hiccup. And I guess maybe it's the Rumble Studio. That's the only explanation I can think of. Okay, well, let's pick up where we left off. Is it live on Facebook too, Shannon?
Yeah, so it created a whole new, it's like a completely different.
Okay, so I'll just pick back up where I left off.
Okay, we'll just keep going.
So for if everyone just
part
tuned
two.
In, part two. I'm going to continue. Now, if you're really interested in what I had to say in the first one, I did a pretty good monologue. At least I thought it was pretty good. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off, showing and exposing these leftist lunatic liberals and how they're complaining about President Trump bringing law and order in D.C. Here's another clip that I want to share with you. This was the Communist News Network. And I just want y'all to hear them, how they're talking about President Trump bringing law and order. Can you bring it over for me? Watch this.
What's striking is that National Democrats are not following Mayor Bowser's lead on this, and that National Democrats have been insisting, just look at the statistics. We have 30-year low, violent crime, whereas Mayor Bowser is talking about, hey, we need to get 500 more police officers on the streets. We'd like the federal government to help us rebuild our jail. She's talking about some of the reforms she did to make it so accused violent offenders don't get out of jail pre-trial. So there is this disconnect, and I've talked to Democratic strategists today that think that National Democrats saying, look at the statistics is sort of a tone-deaf way to react.
And it's very much, isn't this the exact same problem that Democrats had last year? Look at the statistics. We promise you the economy is great, while people are going, it doesn't feel great to me. That feels like a lot of this conversation around crime, that you can point to statistics all day long that say, hey, D.C. is safer this year than it was last year. But do people feel safe? Bottom line, if they don't, they may be more okay with something that would otherwise be considered extraordinary.
You see that? Right there. People are okay with it. President Trump is actually making moves. President Trump is actually doing something that the Democrats could have done themselves, but they didn't want to do it because they like chaos. They like destruction. They like all of that animosity. They enjoy it. That's why I was making an analogy, the difference between angels and demons. Angels don't want all chaos and destruction and animosity and just strife. They don't want it. They're completely against it. But demons from the pits of hell, they like chaos, destruction, animosity. Democrats, they like it. Show me, are there any Democrats that you know that's against it? Well, there's actually some of them against the violence, but by and large, they all are against America. By and large, they're against President Trump for doing positive things. Now, you don't even have to like President Trump. You don't even have to like President Trump. I've said that so many times. You don't have to like him, but acknowledge if he does something good. Right? And over the years, I'll be honest with you, when I was considered myself a Democrat, I supported Bill Clinton. I voted for Bill Clinton. Don't hold it against me. I didn't know any better. But I can acknowledge that Bill Clinton actually did some things that was positive during that time. First time I ever heard about it when he said, okay, well, to shut the government down, trying to bring the deficit down, trying to pay it off. I mean, he actually did something good. I can acknowledge it. I don't really care for Bill Clinton going to Epstein Island, et cetera, but I can acknowledge that he did something good. They won't even do that with President Trump. President Trump is like, look, I don't care. Just stop the violence, stop the crime, live the life that you want to live. But people getting attacked and they're not doing anything about it. And these evil Democrats, they have utilized children to do their crimes, utilized children in the crimes that they've committed. And then they convince these kids to do it because, you know, the kids get right back out on the streets. All right, let's talk about this really quick, and then I want to share something else with you. You have it ready, Shannon? Okay. All right, you got it ready?
Yes, sir. Guess what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about the Westwood One Sports app. The countdown is over. The rivalries are real, and the road to the championship begins on August 23rd. Westwood Sports brings you the electrifying moment of NCAA football. From the first snap to the final whistle, top teams, big plays, unforgettable Saturdays. Don't miss a second of the action.
Move the screen over.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Listen to Westwood One Sports app on the west1sports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open the Westwood One Sports. If it's sports, it's on Westwood One app. Check it out, everybody.
Check it out. Check it out.
Sorry you had to look at Will just looking at you.
She's really not. She's really not. Okay, let me share another one with you if I can. This is on MSDNC, and this is what, how do you say her name? Mika? Mika? Because look, it's almost like the light bulb is trying to come on, because you know what? They want to be able to walk to their vehicles. And you know what? And another thing, I'm going to share another one with you here. What Joe Scarborough said, he's getting a lot of messages from other predominant Democrats saying, look, don't tell anybody, but we like what President Trump is doing because now I can walk to my car and I have to constantly look over each shoulder.
What's your sense of how this will work?
Well, I will tell you that after listening to the press conference yesterday, I feel much better this morning. Just in the last 24 hours, Chief Pam Smith of the Metropolitan Police Department has spoken with Terry Cole, the interim commissioner for the Metropolitan Police Department, at least for the next 30 days. They have spoken. They have Mr. Cole has told Chief Smith that we would like MPD to lead this effort. He wants this to be a collaboration, and frankly, that's the only way I see this as being successful. As a former police chief, if somebody would have come to me and said, "Hey, we're going to bring 500,000 more law enforcement officers in to assist you," what's not to like about that? You could certainly make an impact on crime with that kind of surge. But this is going to be a temporary thing. Make no mistake about that. This is not something that can be sustained over a long period of time. So
Chief, good morning.
I'm very...
Sorry, Chief, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very encouraged that that Chief Smith and Mr. Cole have talked about this being a collaboration, and that MPD is going to basically lead the decisions on how these resources are deployed.
So, see, you know what? That makes complete sense, because President Trump know that what he's doing right now is going to be a temporary thing. It's going to be a temporary thing, because imagine how much it's costing the taxpayers for President Trump to put the National Guards on the streets of D.C., to take over the police department, have Pam Bondi involved in that, I mean, that's a lot of money, resources, time. When these, these other people, these other criminals that everybody else wants to be addressed, but President Trump is addressing all of it.
Yeah, and you know what? You have Judge Janine there. She actually did a press conference yesterday, and she said it's going to take more than the National Guard to fix D.C., right? There needs to be legislation passed. They passed legislation literally where they were handcuffing the police officers from making certain arrests, from taking people in, from getting involved in certain circumstances. And so that legislation that has restricted police officers needs to be removed so they feel free enough to hold people accountable when they're doing something wrong. We know, you brought up Democrat cities. Democrat cities are really becoming known for this because they don't believe that policing is the answer to crime. And what happens when you do that? Crime surges. Chicago, Baltimore, other places.
Yep, 100%. 100%. Here's another video I want to show you of the liberals in downtown D.C. while they're protesting again against President Trump for wanting to stop the violence. Is there something wrong with these people? No, I mean, this is a legit question. Is there something wrong with these people? It's like President Trump can bring, this is what it is. President Trump can solve world hunger. They will go out there and protest against him. President Trump can solve cancer. They will go out there and protest against him. President Trump can solve any element that you have. Stop crime. Oh, they're out there protesting against him. President Trump is trying to stop crime and they're out there protesting against him. Saying Trump must go now. He's stopping crime in the city of D.C. And they're fearful that President Trump is going to go across the country and stop crime. He got to go now. He got to go. We can't allow him to do this. President Trump is going to stop crime. He's got to go. I mean, that's the fact of me saying that don't even sound right. But yet, nonetheless, they're out here protesting against President Trump for wanting to stop crime. Something's truly wrong with these people. Said Donald Trump's fascist takeover of D.C. So apparently, stopping crime in the streets of D.C. is now considered fascism. Allowing you to go to your vehicle and your vehicle is still there because no one stole it is fascism. Allowing you to leave work, go down to the grocery store, buy something, go home, and your home hasn't been vandalized is now fascism. They're the ones saying it. This is mind-blowing. What is their reasoning for being out here protesting against President Trump wanting to stop crime? What is their reasoning? It's TDS. It is 100% TDS. I don't care how much you dislike Trump. I don't care. But you have to admit, these idiots out here protesting against him because he's saying, look, we need to stop the crime. Something's truly wrong with these people. Our society is twisted. These people,
we refuse to accept the racist unleashing of murderous federal police and federal MPD. Must go now. Trump must go now.
Quick, comrades! That's right.
Man, this is ridiculous. You know what? I so wish I could just walk out there with my shirt on and just stand right in the middle of them as they walk past. Just stand right in the front, in the middle of them. Because, of course, they want to make this a racial issue.
Country across the East Coast, we are calling people to come to D.C., and that means D.C. needs to turn out too.
There it is.
Because we refuse Trump's fascist takeover.
Calling people to D.C. to cause some violence, have people hit the streets. Because what are they going to do? President Trump is talking about stopping the violence, stopping the crime, and they're calling people to DC to do what? To join in, to stop the violence, to stop the crime? No, they're calling for people to show up to DC for just the opposite reason. People. I mean, look, I'm not making this up. You're hearing it too, just like me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like she's calling for violence,
Yeah,
right?
that's 100% calling for
Yeah,
violence.
she's saying take to the streets. She's almost begging people. But guess what? Here's the thing. People actually like it when you fight crime. They like it.
yeah.
They like it when they don't have to worry about walking down the street at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, which you know, Will, DC can be pretty busy at night, right?
Yep.
And,
oh, yeah. I've been to DC a number of times, and there's police vehicles, ambulance constantly going because of the crime that's taking place.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you know, you have Democrats that aren't mad with Trump about the border either, because guess what? America is about law and order. People like law and order. So you can sit there and try to get people to fight against Trump, but I believe they're sitting at home actually praising Trump, going, yes, please fix it.
Yeah, they're saying, finally, someone's stepping up. Because you know what President Trump is doing in D.C. has never been done before? This is the first time a sitting president, has ever federalized the police department in D.C. to bring an end to the crime. They have National Guards on the street. There's actual videos right now, Shannon, where people are walking around in D.C., and then you have National Guard, like 5 of them in a group of them just walking past them.
Yeah.
They're patrolling the streets of D.C. right now.
Yep.
RETT66 on Peel.net said it's martial law in D.C. now. I haven't heard that, but I guess you can kind of consider it to be a form of martial law, right? I don't necessarily know that President Trump called it martial law altogether, because when you federalize the police department, I guess it would be martial law.
Yeah, but also he is letting the local police department take the lead. They did say
they're
that.
assisting them.
Right. So
they're assisting them. It's not a full takeover.
Right. It's not a full takeover. It's more of an assistance, giving them some, I guess you want to say, some authority, you know, in the parks and stuff like that. I'm sure people love it. I'm sure they're not going to want it to end. Are you kidding me?
No, they're not going to want it to end.
But this is also...
They got to vote these Democrats out.
I was just going to say, let this be a lesson that this is how it can be, but people have to vote the right people in office.
Yep.
You have to vote for law and order. And unfortunately...
The Democrat Party
that is not the Democrat Party.
It is really not. Listen to this beauty here.
Chris, to be honest with you, I'm trying to hold my temper.
Okay, you see this? Democrat trying to hold his temper. And he's going to go on here really quick and say that he knows what President Trump is thinking, or he's going to allude to that he knows what President Trump is thinking. And I don't understand why they do this all the time. We know what Trump is thinking, and then they come out and they say the lies on what they believe that President Trump is thinking, and then the idiots that watch this nonsense constantly, they go, oh yeah, President Trump said so-and-so. We know it because we heard him say it. No, you heard this idiot say it. Here's a prime example. Watch.
I think there's an ongoing argument that he's having in his head with Black Lives Matter.
Oh, there's an ongoing argument in his head about Black Lives Matter. How does he know what's going on in President Trump's head? How does he know? I support Trump, but I don't know what's going on in the man's head. I don't. I didn't support Joe Biden. I didn't know what was going on in his head. I don't think Joe Biden knew what was going on in his own head. And how does he know?
There's an ongoing argument that he's having with the questions around criminal justice reform and police reform. It's interesting that he really doesn't really care about what's actually happening in D.C. on a certain level, because he's not trying to get at the underlying root causes. He's not looking at examples of how to address rising crime rates that doesn't require a form of policing that leads to increased incarcerality and the like. Let's look at what's going on in Baltimore. Let's look at what's happening actually in places like Baltimore and Chicago. Right?
Oh, Baltimore and Chicago being ran by who? Democrats. He's kind of conveniently leaving that detail out. He's leaving that detail out. Being ran by Democrats. He's not addressing them. He's not going to them saying, hey, y'all need to stop this violence. You know what the best thing the Democrats could do right now in these blue states and blue cities? Stop the crime before President Trump shows up. Because President Trump shows up, DC, once the crime stops, President Trump is mastermind. I'm just telling y'all right now. President Trump doing what he's doing right now, and the crime is going to come to an end, and they're going to start arresting these little thugs. And guess what's going to happen? People are going to recognize it. And then if they don't do it in the other cities, because they're already concerned about President Trump showing up in these other states, they're concerned about it. Because they don't want him showing up and stopping the violence. The Democrats could have done it a long time ago. I don't know what they're waiting on. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. They like violence. They like the crime. That's why they haven't done anything.
Right. So part of what we have to do is to understand, and Oakland, we have to understand this, Chris, within the context of Donald Trump's racial politics.
Oh, my goodness. See, there it is. It's all racial politics. Really? I did not know stopping violence, stopping crime was a racial issue. I didn't know that. I'm getting educated right now. I had no idea that if you wanted to stop violence and being a white person, that means you're racist. I mean, my goodness.
Within the context of his effort to get Epstein off the front pages. I understand David's point. But when we try to treat this as a rational response, then we lose sight of the actual politics that's being played here. And he's actually trying to give his base red meat to get them off of the Epstein story, and it's on the backs of citizens in Washington, D.C. He's going to undermine the democratic process in the district.
Oh, my goodness. You Democrats are giving us the meat. I mean, you're the one giving us the meat. I mean, I wouldn't have, you know what? I don't think that I would have too much to talk about if these Democrats weren't running their holes. If they weren't running their pie holes, I don't know that I would have too much to talk about, but they can't help themselves. It's like, oh my goodness, Trump is saying something. Got to stop Trump. Got to stop Trump. That's all that goes through their mind. The past 8 years, past 10 years, the only thing that's been on the minds of Democrats is how to stop Trump. Instead of trying to figure out, okay, you know what? Let's ignore Trump. Let's see what we can do. Let's show the American people that we can stop the violence, that we can stop the crime. But they don't do that. They end up complaining about Trump doing it, saying it's racist for him doing it. Again, I don't care how much you dislike Trump, but my goodness, come on. I mean, come on. See, Democrats, they have families. They have wives. They have children. They want to be able to go to the movie theater. They want to be able to go to the park. They want to sit at a restaurant and eat the avocados without being harassed and attacked. They want to be able to leave the restaurant, leave the grocery store, and get to the car and load their vehicle up with their food that they purchased from working and go home without being attacked. They like these things too. I know it's a rare commodity today, apparently. But people like those things too, regardless of your political background. It doesn't make sense. But you know what? There's a lot of Democrats are like, oh my goodness, you know, don't tell anybody, but we like what Trump is doing. Okay, don't tell anybody. Listen to Joe Scarborough. Joe Scarborough receiving messages from multiple Democrats, and they're telling him that they like what President Trump is doing.
As long as the president focuses and the FBI focuses and the National Guard focuses on safety and security and not being an ominous force in that city, but just providing support in a partnership role to the D.C. police, that'll be a great thing. If they step over that line, obviously that's something that, you know, we can do two things at once. And if they move into a more ominous role, that is something that we need to, obviously, and everybody needs to bring up with real concerns. But I will just go back to the fact that, you know, the people that are cheering this on privately are not like right-wing Republicans. And
the people that's cheering this on privately are not right-wing Republicans. They're Democrats.
They're not MAGA people. A lot of our friends are in the media, and also Democrats that worked on Joe Biden's campaign, that worked on other campaigns, that are saying, yeah, I'd like to feel safe walking around this city. If the federal government can be a positive partner in keeping the streets safe, while, again, forming a partnership with the D.C. police and not taking over, then at least the people I've spoken with that live in D.C. day in, day out see this as...
They see it as something positive. Day to day. This is left-leaning Joe Scarborough saying it. And again, no matter the political background, people want to be safe. And we should be. We should be able to have complete different viewpoints on everything and be safe about those different viewpoints. We should be. And why is it that Democrats are giving this a pass? Why is it? Why is it they're trying to make this a racial issue? Like, for example, this one here. I want y'all to listen to this. This is in D.C. And of course, because they're trying to make this racial, trying to make racism be the number one issue here of safety and security, these Democrats are out here singing like they're in bondage. You can't make it up.
D.C. is our home. You can't have it wrong. D.C. is our home. You can't have it wrong. D.C. is our home. You can't have it wrong. It's our home, so it's our home. So get on out.
I mean, when I first heard this, and see, Shannon, she played it. And for those of you that don't know, Shannon happens to be a Caucasian white female, conservative, not liberal. And she was playing it. She just listened to it. She said, who's coming up with these songs? And I said, you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a whole bunch of people in bondage singing. I mean, that's what it sounds like. So now all of them, we're in bondage. We're victims. And they're out here protesting, advocating for criminals, for violent crime. This kind of explains the reason why they're advocating for criminals coming into the country. You got to save the MS-13 and the Tre de Agua gang members. You got to advocate for them and save them, protect them. It's just a fact. And I'm sitting there listening to it. We're all bondage. We're in bondage. And they got this guy. I don't know what this is about, but he's sitting here watching Trump while he's at the event. And if he's a liberal, TDS. I mean, they probably can't stand it. I don't even know what that's about. One more. I think we have one more time for one more here. And again, racial element, the Democrats, because they don't have anything. There's no foundation. There's nothing to stand on. Actually, I had a conversation with what I believe considered to be a highly intelligent young man. I had a conversation with him last night. And he asked me the question, why do I think that these people that, pushing all this stuff, why are they pushing? I'm paraphrasing, because I don't remember exactly how it came up or what the conversation was. But I do remember one key thing. And he said the reason why they're like that is because they have no foundation. They're not standing on anything. So they just make up stuff as they go along. And I said, that is exactly it. Right? It's exactly it. There's no foundation in the Democrat Party because they don't know what a woman is and the way they're targeting children, all this crazy stuff. And now they're out here fighting for criminal activity to continue. They're advocating for criminal violence to continue, not to stop. Now, I can understand if they wouldn't hit the streets of D.C. and said, okay, you know what? We don't like Trump, but we're going to support him in removing the criminal element from the streets of D.C. They're not doing that. They're doing just the opposite. That's why it's proof that we are in a spiritual battle, Because the only explanation, the reason why I believe that these people are doing any of this is because a demonic spirit has taken over them. Like, watch this. I think this is the one with Simone. Listen to what she says. And of course, because she's black, she's a victim. More police officers mean it's worse for black people. Oh my goodness, what an ignorant statement.
I can go chapter and verse if you'd like me to.
Yeah, I mean, well, Joe, I've lived in D.C. for the last 10 years. My husband runs a restaurant association, I think, as most people know, and he used to be the nightmare. So I think that and I do think that you had David Drucker on earlier, and I think he hit the nail on the head, that it is perceived violence amplified by some actual real acts of violence. But the way I've heard D.C. being described this morning is like it's a city under siege, like it's a dangerous place, clutching your pearls. You got to keep your bag under your dress when you leave the house. And that's just not true. What we are talking about, though, is these instances of juvenile crime. That is what Jeanine Pirro came to the White House press briefing yesterday and zeroed in on. I was surprised I didn't hear Brian Schwab talk more about it. He mentioned the juvenile courts and the judges. But my concern is that the president is using instances of juvenile crime in the city of Washington, D.C. as a pretext for what I would describe as his authoritarian overreach.
There it is again. Authoritarian overreach, a.k.a. dictator. He's being a dictator. So I guess they all got the memo. Don't say dictator, say authoritarian, right? I guess it seems maybe because they worn the dictator phrase out. I guess they wore that one out. So just say authoritarian, right? I guess that's the reason why they're doing that. So again, bringing safety and security is being authoritarian, a dictator.
And because there is enough there for folks to say, oh, well, you know, maybe it's not all that bad what Donald Trump is doing, just like there are people that said the same about immigration until you know, the Marines were rolling down the streets of their city and ICE was snatching up their neighbors in neighborhoods that people have been there for years.
Oh, but they came into the country. How? Illegally. They've already broken the law. Why is this? You can't make it up. You can't make it up. I mean, you know, they always leave the key details out. And the people that watch this stuff religiously, they have no clue.
There's just enough there for people to say, oh, well, maybe this isn't that bad, ignoring the fact that more police officers on the street are not going to fix the issue of juvenile crime. What about the policies? What about the laws? What about the judges? What about the policies of the Juvenile Assessment Center in Washington, D.C.? How
has failed the city. There's a reason why we have the crime the way it is. She didn't want to address that. But listen,
where are the wraparound services? Jeanine Pirro talked about children getting let out, kids getting let out for arts and crafts. Okay, well, what are the real policies, the wraparound services to address what is happening with the juvenile justice system in Washington, D.C.? Is the National Guard and the military going to address that? I don't think so. So until we start talking about that, we are really adding to the fear mongering, in my opinion, and amping up the rhetoric when we should be tamping it down because Donald Trump is giving us rhetoric and not the reality.
She has a loud mouth. How come she's not even talking about the policies, what's happening with the juveniles in D.C.? She said nothing. She's been silent about all of it for years. She ran around with Bernie Sanders. Bernie said nothing about the violence and the crime because Bernie Sanders is a communist, and communism, they most definitely need the chaos in order to try to destroy this country.
Thank you, Will, for saying that. I was just thinking that, watching that, going, isn't it interesting that that Trump has to do this in order for them to go, okay, well, there is a problem. Why aren't we talking about that? Why weren't you already talking about it?
Yeah.
Listen, crime is a problem among 13-year-olds and younger, I guess, in D.C., but it's not just them. Let's not make it seem like they're the biggest focus right now. Of course, Judge Jeanine did talk about it as well, the arts and crafts. She was referring to the juvenile group, but they are being just as soft with the adults.
They really are. They really are. Now, listen to this, because Joe Scarborough is going to ask her, do you not think more police officers means more safety and security? Watch her racist response.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
Let me answer it. Let me go first. Yes. Yes, more police officers on the streets of America makes things safer. Now, you're going to have bad apples. You have bad apples in everything. You can go to any apple tree and find at least one bad apple. But so you're going to have that. But more police officers, yes. And again, if you address the police officers like I did in part 1 of this video, I'm not sure where I started over, but in part 1 of this video, I talked about what they should do with police officers and how to prevent them from being weaponized against the American people. But they're not concerned about all that. But Joe Scarborough, to answer your question again, yes is the answer. More police officers mean more safety, security for everybody.
No, Joe, I'm a black woman in America.
Black woman in America. Angry black woman. There it is. There it is. Not safety and security for her because she's an angry black woman.
And amping up the rhetoric when we should be tamping it down because Donald Trump is giving us rhetoric and not the reality.
You don't think more police make streets safer?
No, Joe, I'm a black woman in America. I do not always think that more police make streets safer. When you walk down the streets of Georgetown, you don't see a police officer on every corner, but you don't feel unsafe. So what is it about talking about places like Southeast D.C., right? Ward 8, if you will, that people say, well, we need more officers to make us safe. I think we have to rethink what safety means in America.
We need to rethink what safety means in America. How do we do that? I mean, what is the rethinking part? Get rid of the police department? Because they're all for, these communists are for defunding the police department, actually getting rid of it. Look at, what is it, Mamdani? How do you say his name?
Mamdani.
Mamdani in New York. He's already said that they want to get rid of the police department. Communism. So they can
trying
have
to switch
chaos.
it up now. But yeah.
I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Hey, let me get everybody to do this. If you can go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, sign up for the free newsletter. Sign up for the free newsletter at uniteamericafirst.com. I would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate your support and your help. And it's free newsletter, uniteamericafirst.com. Take it right there. You can write it down or screenshot it, whichever is the easiest, the quickest way for you to do it. And at the same time, 1 hour from now, Monday through Friday, you'll see my show, Culture Wars, right there, that I do another show where I'm going to show more information about all of this. Some stuff I didn't show here, but I want to show you more there on my show, Culture Wars. Just all you have to do is come to uniteamericafirst.com and click on Culture Wars, and it will take you directly to the live feed. And if you would, please bless me. If you could bless me. One person sent me a message yesterday and said that they became a silver member. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. I need all the help and the support I can get. I really do, because I'm asking God's people, right? That's all I can ask. I can only ask God's people. If you find it, if God put it on your heart, please go uniteamericafirst.com/donate and support me. Or you can do one-time deal. So, you know what? I'll give this guy some help. I'll give him just a little bit of help. Right there, one time, you see the different options. Or if you want to send me something in the mail, because a lot of people don't like the digital thing, I completely get it. I really do. There's my physical address right there. And every time someone has sent me a letter, an envelope, even hats, I've kept it all. I'm going to put it in Will Johnson's non-presidential library one day. You see that? Will Johnson's non-presidential library. I'm going to have it in there, and I'm going to show everything that I received. Thank you so much for all of that. Oh, and one more thing. If you want to help me out as well, please go to givesendgo.com, givesendgo.com/studio. Please consider helping me out. And there's been a couple people on here, and wonderful. And I would love to meet this lovely lady one day. She's actually blessed me so many different ways. She gave me some Facebook stars today even. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you for all the blessings. And let me say this too. Who else was it? I think it was Filter Dog. Thank you so much for the goat pills on pill.net. And then one person did a Rumble Rant. Ed, thank you so much for the Rumble Rant. Now bring that picture back up, Shannon. And on the Give Send Go, we have a couple people that have blessed me on there. Ann was the first one. Steve. We had an anonymous person and Linda. Please, if you would, please consider going to givesendgo.com/studio. Anything helps. I'm just trying to, upgrade some of the equipment that I have. And this is the only way I can do it, by asking you for help. Because Facebook, they demonetized my main Facebook page, taking all my monetization away. And I've been trying to get my Instagram going, and they're giving me difficult time there on Instagram as well. It's just Meta. So, and I hate the fact that I was getting paid decent there to keep the lights on. But nonetheless, I'm asking you, if God puts it on your heart, givesandgo.com/studio. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, everybody. Less than 1 hour from now, don't forget, put a mobile alert on your phone, uniteamericafirst.com. Click on Culture Wars. I will have more information about all of this chaos and stuff that I didn't even show you, because there's so much happening.